Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, before we get started, excuse me. If you would like to make public comment tonight, would you please fill out one of the public comment cards on the back, by the back table? Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the City of Madeira Beach Board of Commissioners regular meeting. Today is Tuesday, December 13th, and the time is 6 p.m. Commissioner Hodges, will you please lead us in this evening's invocation?
Our Father in heaven, we ask for your special blessing this Christmas season on all those assembled here tonight. We especially pray for the well-being and health of people throughout the world who are suffering from conflict, illness, hunger, and other human tragedies. May all men and women who are less fortunate than we are be ever in our hearts during the season of joy and love. This we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Please remain standing and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of our country.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Palladino.
Here.
Vice Mayor Golvahi.
Here.
Commissioner Lister.
Here.
Commissioner Hodges.
Here.
All right. Approval of the minutes. We have no minutes this evening. At this time, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any comments from staff?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, under item number 1 under new business, for public hearing for alcohol beverage application 2016-07, it should read a public hearing to consider alcoholic beverage application number 2016-07 for a 2 COP license beer and wine only, and from that point on it should be deleted. So from sale to all the way end to the address needs to be deleted. So what I wanted to read is a public hearing to consider alcoholic beverage application 2016.07 for a 2 COP license beer and wine only at 208 Johns Pass Boardwalk Place East. And staff would recommend that change on the agenda.
All right, this time I will entertain to amend the motion for the correction of the agenda.
Yes, Mayor.
Second.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hodges.
Yes.
Commissioner Lister.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Golvahi.
Yes.
Mayor Palladino.
Yes. All right, next presentations and proclamations. Deputy John Luckett, would you please approach the podium? You're in trouble, brother. I've always wanted you in this position right here. You know, Deputy Luckett, you know, we're both Masons, and there's a part of the obligation to ask you, where were you first made a Mason? And I think you know that answer in your heart. And I think as a Pinellas County deputy, I think you always knew what your calling in life was to be, to protect and serve the people. Tonight, and I told you I'm not going to cry. Tonight, we're here, the City of Madeira Beach, the Commission and the residents of the City of Madeira Beach are here to present you the key to the City of Madeira Beach for your service that you've done as the policing deputy here, the policing officer. And also, I want to proclaim that Tuesday, December 13th, is Deputy John Luckett Day.
In here they can, but they were not
Yeah,
going to
but
be
they
able to
can't hear you at home,
television.
so you gotta use the mic.
Yeah. There you go. That's perfect.
It's on. Okay. Very briefly, I got to tell you, from me, this means a lot, Mayor, Commissioners, Shane, and residents of Madeira. You have no idea how much the community and the support from the commission and the mayor and the city manager means to the deputies that work out here. It's the only reason you see me as successful. It's because of that support from the community. It's because of that support, that constant information exchange, that we were able to do what we did out here. And even before I got here, that support has been felt by deputies for years. And I thank you all from the bottom of my heart. I truly feel like this is a second home to me, even though I'm a Pinellas County deputy. And thank you. Thank you for that support from the entire sheriff's office.
And Deputy Elected, let me, add, we're very blessed here in Pinellas County. I think we have outstanding deputies throughout, and like I said, what you've done here in Madeira Beach is just amazing. You have two other gentlemen right now following in your footsteps, and you trained them well. You trained them well, and they're great deputies, and like I said, we're blessed. This is my 4th year on the EMS Advisory Board, and besides doing presentations and recognizing our firefighters and first responders, I get to also do presentations to deputies of Pinellas County, and I got to admit tonight is one of the highlights of presenting some of this. I think somebody else has something.
Just so you don't have to sit down. I'm Tom Zitz, president of All Beats Rotary, and there's 6 Rotarians here.
Tom, can I interrupt you and have you use the mic at the podium so everybody at home can hear you?
There are 6 Rotarians here tonight, but I'm here with Deborah Rogowski, who's on our board of directors, and we'd, John, like to present you a Rotary Certificate of Excellence, and we have also will provide $270 to the charity of your choice. And if you would just give me a call, here's a list of charities if you need them. If you don't, but that money will be given in your name, sir. And this is for your contribution to our big fundraiser, the Spring Carnival here. And without you, I can't imagine. Yeah. Thank you very much, sir.
Sonny's not done.
I gotta say one more thing too, and Shane, this goes to your credit. I really want to say, the staff that works in the city here that you've pulled together, incredible. Dave, Amy, Vince, the support from that staff made a lot of things possible that the residents may not even be aware of from a law enforcement angle. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Good for you, John. Good for you.
The next presentation, the Veterans Boat Parade, and I believe we have the presentation from the committee to Heaven on Earth. Who's, okay.
Take your time.
Veteran coordinator
Pam, can I ask you to do them?
and the Rock Park coordinator. With me today, I have Roger Gerstung. He was our sponsorship coordinator, and this was our 20th anniversary of the boat parade. And We could not have asked for a better year, better weather, better sponsors, supporters, everything, all involved was great. Every year what we do is, try it like this, how about that? The money that we make from the parade, we donate to veterans charities, and we try to keep it here to local Pinellas County charities. What we did this year is we had several smaller charities that we donated money to, and then we picked one larger one. That larger one was Heaven on Earth. Sheila is here from Heaven on Earth. Her partner Carol just had some knee surgery, so she was not able to attend today. But what they do, and I'll let Sheila tell you a little bit about it as well, is they take homes that are foreclosed in really bad condition. They buy them at a very inexpensive price, fix them up, rehab them, remodel them, and then veterans that are homeless, they put those in those homes for a nominal fee, get them back on their feet. Now they can get their benefits, their mail, things like that. And so, Sheila, if you want to come up. So for this year, Veterans Boat Parade was able to donate
And Pam, I'd just like to add one thing. What a fantastic job the Legion did putting that together, and y'all working together as a committee for the 20th anniversary. I know we worked with different people to get different veterans, trying to get a lot of World War II veterans on the boats, and I think we were very successful. As we see that generation, slowly fading away, it was great that y'all really went out there and made an effort to recognize them in this year's boat parade. God bless them. God bless y'all. And thank you for everything that you and the Legion do for our veterans. Thank you.
Okay. First of all, in behalf of my partner, Lieutenant Colonel Carol Bacalo, who is not here today, we want to thank the City of Madeira Beach for partnering with the Veterans Boat Parade to make the event the best and the best year. Also, I want to thank the many sponsors who stood up and supported this event. And Heaven on Earth for Veterans, we are so grateful for all the support. Thank you.
I'm Roger Gersten. I was sponsorship chairman. I just also would like to thank all the great sponsors we had. We had a huge turnout from the community this year. The Old Salts was, real helpful. The Elks Club, of course, Post 273 Legion, the City of Madeira Beach, Johns Pass. Everybody just pitched in and made this the best, I think, boat parade that we've ever had. So we've got a few plaques that we'd like to give out, and I don't think we have the certificates in the plaques, but we'll get them to you. So what do you got first?
Well, first I'd like to start with, every year we have a boat in the parade in Dolphin Quest, and Captain Greg, that crew down there, very instrumental, very helpful. And if we don't call them in time, they're calling us going, you guys, what's going on with the parade? We want to get in. We love to help you guys do this. And that was one of the tasks I had, was getting those World War II and Korean War veterans. And like Travis said, we had a phenomenal amount this year. I kind of overbooked the Dolphin Quest. So Dave Marsicano helped, and he got Mark Hubbard to get one of his boats involved. And we needed to charter it for the day. So we got some sponsors, or Mark got several sponsors, and unfortunately some of them couldn't be here today. Bill Carnes, Jim Holton, and Dan Casey from Old Salts. The three of them made generous donations, and then also Janice Hill from the Ladies Auxiliary at American Legion Post 273 right here in Madeira Beach. Because of their generous donations and support, we were able to have a second boat into the parade with World War II and Korean War veterans. So we'll get to your about this, the SAL, how they donated.
Okay, yeah, we had quite a few raffles going this year as big fundraisers, and the SAL donated a scooter to us that we were able to raffle off and raise. I think we raised about $3,000 just off the raffle tickets from the Sons of American Legion. So that was a real boost in our coffers this year, and of course Sheila was a beneficiary of that, part of that funds too. And I forgot to mention, we were having the awards meeting last week for the boat parade, and Sheila and her partner got up and they were talking about what their charity does, and I heard Carol turn to you and say, "Well, now we can put the roof on that house." When we presented them with the check for $5,000, and everybody in the whole place just kind of, got a little teary-eyed. So it's nice to know that this money actually goes to something other than just administrative costs or whatever. It's putting a roof on our house for veterans. So again, I want to thank everybody that kicked in for that. And we've got a couple more certificates.
And unfortunately, tonight is a big night at the Legion. Well, not unfortunate for them, but for us, that the SAL could not be here tonight. But Roger is a SAL member, so we're going to present the certificate to him for the donations that the SAL were able to give to us. Thank you. Okay. SAL. And then I noticed, Mr. Carnes, you just came in. We would like to thank you for your generous support and donation to the second boat that we were able to get this year to put our World War II and Korean War veterans in. So we have this for you if you'd like to come up. Come on up, Bill.
Representative from Century 21?
Don't believe so. Jeff Biggins is not here.
Dave, you got anybody here from the marina? We'll let you take this one. Madeira Beach Marina, for all that they've done for us as far as the boat parade goes, and anything that we asked Dave and the crew down there, Krabby and the rest of them, they would bend over backwards, and we want to thank you for your support. In the post. If the commander will come up from post 273, we'll present their plaque to them. Jim White, Commander, thank you very much. And I think everybody else is. Oh, okay. Good.
Also, when we came to the city, we wanted to do a little event here at the park and everything like that. And everybody at the rec center, Doug Andrews, if you'll come on up, he and his staff were very supportive.
And those from Old Salts, come on up. Again, these guys, they bent over backwards anything we asked them to do, providing us tents and volunteers and whatever we could. I got the whole group here. Last but not least, who wants to accept for the city? The mayor. Again, tremendous support from the city on this event.
Roger and Pam, once again, I want to say from the city of Madeira Beach, being the mayor the last 6 years, y'all extended an invitation to me to be a part of the parade, which I've been just blessed to be able to do. When you sat there and looked at, this year doing the Korean and World War II veterans, my grandfather was a World War II veteran. He was wounded on the Normandy beaches. He has passed. My uncle, Donald Palladino, he's gone now. He's a Korean War veteran. Received his Purple Heart in Korea. So thank you very much from my family. Thank you.
I know Pastor Sandra is here. I'm sorry we kind of skipped over you. We didn't know you were here, but if you'll come up, Pastor Sandra, and we'll get your certificate to you afterwards. When we started all this, obviously Roger and I can't be at two places at one time as much as we try to and think we can. When we were doing the event here, we needed an organization or someone to try and run the event here for us. And Amy and Jill, everyone at Old Salt said, we got the perfect set up for you and the perfect group. Pastor Sandra from Crossbridge Church, her and her congregation came over. I didn't have to worry about a thing. They ran everything here for me that day. So thank you. And I know you do everything the city ever asked for you, so thank you.
I just have one real quick story about the parade this year. We were able to get the Warbirds from Kissimmee to do a flyover with two of their World War II trainers. And we auctioned off the front seat ride in both of those airplanes, one at the Legion and one at the Elks. And the one at the Elks, one of the members bought it for a World War II veteran who was actually trained and flew that exact same airplane in the South Pacific. He was George Bush's wingman. Unfortunately, they put him in the airplane, and he basically, he just said he couldn't do it. So he was able to get out there. He got to sit in the airplane. They were ready to taxi to take off to do the flyover for our opening ceremonies, and he said he couldn't do it. So somebody took his place, but he was able to come and spend the afternoon with us at the Legion, view the parade, and everybody. He was in full uniform. He had contacted me prior to the event and asked if it was okay if he wore his uniform, and I said I wouldn't accept you any other way. Of course you can wear it. So he was in his full dress uniform, and it was a great day for him and a great day for everybody to meet somebody of with this honor. So again, thank you, Commander, for everything you've done, and everybody else that's helped out with the parade.
And just real quick, last thing. I mean, when Roger and I came to the city and said, look, can you guys sign on as our title sponsorship? I mean, not one step of the way did they hesitate. They were there. I was constantly getting text messages, emails, anything you guys need, what do you need, what can we help you with? So thank you, City Manager Crawford. Thank you, Mayor Palladino. Thank you all very much.
And Pam, once again, Commander, thank you very much for everything y'all do over there at the Legion Post 273. You're one of the crowns in the city of Madeira Beach. Thank you very much. To the sponsors out there that stepped it up, guys, most of y'all I've known almost 20 years, and so I'm not surprised. Thank you very much. And City Manager, Mr. Crawford and Dave Marsicano, outstanding guys. That's why we're Madeira Beach. Thank you. All right, next public comment. This section is dedicated to public comment on matters of concern or city business that is not on the agenda. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes. Madam City Clerk.
Missy Hahn.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, and staff. Just two events I want to make sure that the public is aware of. Our holiday mixer is the 22nd of this month. We are holding it at Caddy's. For more information or to sign up to attend, feel free to check out our website. And most importantly, we have our annual membership dinner, which is January 12th. It's at the club at Treasure Island. Again, information, you can find it on our website. Come out, be with the members, meet your local businesses, support your local businesses, and I thank you for the time.
Madam City Clerk.
Ginger Tolliver.
Hi, I'm Ginger Tolliver from Bay Point Drive. I just want to say this was a big surprise, but welcome home, Deputy Luckett. He was and is the best, and I hope he comes back someday. And this is a plea to all of you remaining board members. Please do the best you can to undo the damage that was done to our fantastic city manager by getting whatever that stupid organization was to rethink their action. Everybody seems to say, oh, well, it's nothing. Well, you know what? It is. If it were me, it would be my pride. And I just don't see how one person can do that. So I don't know what you guys can do, but I hope you do everything you can to accomplish that, because he's the best we have, and we need to treat him right. Thank you.
Madam City Clerk.
Tom Verdensky.
Mr. Mayor, City Commissioners, I just want to thank everybody for the success of the Fall King of the Beach, and Mr. Crawford, Doug Andrews, of course, Dave Mariscano, and the crew over there at the marina. We couldn't do what we do without your guys' support. We raised this year over $50,000 from the event. We broke records as far as number of outside boats. You know, it's a huge undertaking, and without your continued support, and Shane, your continued support, and the whole staff, we wouldn't be able to do what we normally do. And it was just like I said, it was a very pleasurable experience, and everybody that came is coming back, and we look forward to being here in the spring. On top of it, we were able to donate, since then, 250 additional rods and reels to local kids in need, which was fabulous. We also had our special needs event in Fort DeSoto. We took 50 special need children fishing on private individual boats. Dan Casey and the crew cooked for everybody, gave awards, and I can't thank all of our members and several in the community here that stood up and helped us do that as well, and gave their time and effort that day. It's an amazing event, and if you haven't been able to attend it, I strongly suggest that you get involved and come out and see us. But like I said, the staff here and the commissioners, everybody across the board, we just couldn't do what we do on a normal basis without all your support. I just wanted to say thank you for that. And the Veterans Parade this year was great, and the boat parade was an amazing event as well. Dave and his crew did a great job, and we were glad to be a part of that as well. So just thank you.
And Tom, before you leave, you know, our relationship's probably about 20 years old. And, you know, I'm a past member, a board member of the Old Salts Fishing Foundation. And the community link between the Old Salts and Madeira Beach is outstanding. What a strong bond. And thank you for everything that the Old Salts does in helping the city of Madeira Beach, the boat parades, the Veterans Boat Parades, the Seafood Festival. I mean, you're a community group, and thank you very much.
Well, thank you. We couldn't do it without you all.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk.
I have no more cards.
Okay. Consent
I believe
agenda.
that somebody in the audience.
Did you fill a card, Mr. Merrill?
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I'd like to respond this evening to a letter put in the Beach Beacon by the city manager, which he criticized me on a number of issues. He was irritated because I did write a letter to the Beach Beacon concerning many financial issues, such as the city being in debt $19.5 million. So I'm concerned, as most citizens should be, about the financial situations we have in Madera Beach. $19.5 million, including interest, is going on for 27 years. You put us in debt for 27 years. Also, I commented in my letter the fact that the city manager's salary and compensation is over $200,000 a year, including 7 weeks vacation. And when you compare that, let's compare it to the governor of Florida. He makes $17,000 less a year than the city manager of Little Madera Beach with 4,300 people. So there are a number of things, including the 56% increase that the commissioners voted for themselves. So these financial issues, to me, are very, very troubling. But in addition to that, the city manager stated that I was partially responsible for the city debt of $19.5 million. I might remind the city manager that I have not been on the city commission in 20 years. So how in the world he came out with the fact that I'm partially responsible for this huge debt that you placed on the taxpayers? In addition to that, he said I was also responsible for the poor condition, or partially responsible for the poor condition of the old city hall. Again, I have not been on the city commission since 1996. Just some cheap shots he took at me because I published some financials in the Beach Beacon. I think it's just ridiculous that he took after a city resident like that. And when I take a look too, let's take a look at another look at that $200,000 a year's compensation. I checked the city manager of Seminole, who has 4 times the population of Madera Beach, and his compensation is less than the city manager of Madera Beach. So I think you better take a close look at how you're spending the taxpayers' money. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Merrill. You need to sign the card, sir. Just do a card real quick, and I'll go ahead and fill a card up real quick for public comment. City clerk's getting you a card now.
My name is Andy BOC. I'm his next door neighbor. I know it seems a little harsh to hear some of these things going back and forth. Marvin I've known since I moved here. He's a good person. He's concerned because he was a commissioner here at one time, and that's why he's so deeply involved with some of these issues. I myself, understand why this is going on, but the bickering back and forth, I mean, that shouldn't be. My only opinion is, I'm a business person, and I've been in industry so many years. I think it is a little bit, he's got a good point when he talks about 7 weeks vacation. In industry, that's a little beyond someone that has such little seniority. And in my business, if I could afford to leave someone 7 weeks, then I would feel like he's not a critical person in my operation. So that's the only thing I would like to support more. And it's something that just hit me. But as far as Marvin, you couldn't find a better person. His concern is for the city. It's not malice, or he's not trying to go after anybody. He's got caught in a situation where he's being criticized. And I just want to let everyone know, I live next door to him. You couldn't find a better person.
Thank you, sir. You have any more cards? Chris Reese.
City Council, thanks for seeing me. I have one comment to say on the Seminole City thing. Does anybody here have a business in Seminole? Live in Seminole? Own a house in Seminole? You'll see why Seminole does not pay the city manager. Have you met the new city manager, which is not a he, it's a she? I didn't think so. I have both house, business, lived there my whole life, have residence with Madeira Beach. There's a reason that person doesn't get paid what they get paid. Do y'all know them? Know the record? Seminole's going backwards, and we've gone through this. You don't have thrift shops. You don't have pawn shops. You don't have duplexes with all the drugs. You don't have extra cops rolling your neighborhood. It's simple. You get what you pay for. You want to compare the governor to the president? President, that's half. And he gives it away. You get what you pay for.
Thank you, Mr. Reese. Is there any more cards, Madam City Clerk?
I have no more cards.
Okay, thank you. No, one time. I know it'd be a debate, so we can't only do one time. All right, closing public comment. Next, consent agenda. None. Unfinished business. None. New business. Public hearing for alcoholic beverage application 2016-07. Mr. City Attorney.
Are we doing the
public hearing for 2016-07?
The resolution, I'm sorry.
The public hearing for.
Public hearing for the alcoholic.
Okay, I'm sorry. A public hearing to consider alcoholic beverage application number 2016.07 for a 2 COP license, beer and wine only, sale by the drink for consumption on premises.
I think we're going to strike that.
We deleted that portion. Oh, yes, I heard that. Located at 208 Johns Pass Boardwalk Place East.
Well, we're going to kind of turn this upside down on all of you. The city attorney and I spoke about this case, and we have been, I spoke to the applicant and have acknowledged that they do currently have a 2 APS license. Therefore, they can sell packaged beer and wine. Their concern is they would like for samples, sort of like when you go to Publix and you're allowed to have a sample. And therefore, they requested the 2 COP. According to the city attorney, he said, if they get a 2 COP, they are able to open a bar. A 2 COP will allow 1 or 2 months down the road, if they decide we want to turn this into a bar, they could. He suggests that they keep the 2 APS that they currently have and not be granted the 2 COP. So that is going to be staff's recommendation. I did discuss this with the applicant to see if he wanted to withdraw it, and he would like to move forward and present his case before you for a 2 COP license, as it has been advertised and it is on the agenda.
All right, is the applicant here?
The applicant is here.
Okay.
But per the city attorney's advice, staff is recommending denial on the 2 COP.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move that this commission consider an electric beverage application 2016-07 for a 2 COP license, beer and wine only, at 208 Johns Pass Boulevard Place East.
I don't have a second on the motion, so the motion fails.
I'm a little confused.
Yeah, I think, Mr. Mayor, if I can clear this up, this is something that wasn't spoken with me.
All right.
I think this, we keep coming back to this staff recommendation. This is the first I've heard of it. And so, you know, if the applicant is here, you know, if Tom was here, I'd say it in front of him too. Staff needs to get together to make a staff recommendation. Our contracted attorney, who doesn't have to work here 8 hours a day, doesn't have to field the phone calls from this gentleman asking why he doesn't have this. Michelle and I didn't have a chance to talk about it either, but I think there was a sidebar before the meeting started, and so I would at least ask you to make a motion second and get it on the floor, and let's talk to this guy and find out what he wants to do.
Okay, I'll second.
Okay, so there's motion and a second, and right now I know what staff's recommendations is. Do we want to go ahead? Is the applicant here? So would you like to come forward?
Yeah, I would just add to clarify, I think the applicant always had the right to put on their part. The issue was the staff recommendation, and just to reflect for the record that the staff recommendation changed. That was all.
Thank you. Sir, can you speak into the mic so people can hear you at home? Sorry.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Gary Foley. I'm the manager of the store, and I am the one that put forth the application on behalf of Mr. Crillies, the owner. Lucas Crillies, owner. And the application process began with a simple conversation. We're a small gift shop and wine shop in Johns Pass, right on the boardwalk, about 400 square feet. And the application process began with a conversation with a friend and neighbor who works for the Department of Business and Professional Regulation. And in his humble opinion, we should have, when we initially applied for our license, we should have applied for a 2 COP to begin with. So I initiated the process and had conversations with the city, and we're just rolling through this process with the intention of just doing the next right thing, protecting ourselves and protecting the owner that I work for, and just doing the right thing by the business and protecting the employees as well. Personally, I worry, being the person on the floor and the point person in the business on a daily basis, dealing with the people. I understand that it's the opinion of the city that we're completely within our boundaries to do business the way we're doing business. However, we also report to the state of Florida as well, and having had concerns with those folks, it initiated this process. This was really innocent.
Well, sir, can I stop you there? Can you explain to us what are we actually considering here? So the way that I understand it is you package small bottles of wine and chocolate and those types of things, like little gift packages and that type of thing, that there isn't a massive amount of consumption on premise, and if there is, they're tasting it to see if they want to buy that package. Am I correct? And so you feel that the 2 COP covers you from an insurance standpoint, or that you have further options down the line?
No, we're not looking for further options down the line. And to that end, we brought our landlord, the owner of the building, and we're quite comfortable with the knowledge that if we have attempted to do anything as far as establishing a bar or establishing a dance club in our 400 square foot facility, our landlord would pull our lease, and I think he'd be willing to say that on the record as well.
We've known your landlord before. I think we can all confirm that that's probably the case. So,
Yeah.
So that's not necessarily what I'm concerned about. I guess the question that I've got for the city attorney, and I think, again, it's not that we're disagreeing on this side of the table. I just think we didn't have enough time to sidebar and get this all together. But for the acting city attorney, is there a way that we could go ahead and grant their 2 COP with a side agreement that they would never turn the premise into a drinking facility for charge? I think the idea, I got in my head that if I wanted to buy a box of chocolates and a bottle of wine for my grandmother for Christmas, you give me a little Dixie cup with the wine in it, and I taste it and see if I like it, right? And that's the amount of consumption that's going to happen on premise. In a 400 square foot, facility, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, I respectfully disagree with the city attorney on this one, and especially since I don't want to call out Mr. Guy Catelli, but we've dealt with him before. I'm sure that's not what he wants in that facility. And if we can somehow protect the city, Commissioner Lister, that's your district, another bar in that vicinity is probably not the first thing that would be on your list. But a little gift center where you can actually taste what you're buying and you're not charging for that little Dixie cup of a half a shot of wine is a completely different story than being able to belly up to the bar and order a bottle of wine and have it corked and spend the afternoon there. So I think we really have to look at their business plan and not be the heavy hammer of the law. In this instance, these folks just seem to be wanting to do a little CYA.
Mr. City Attorney, is that possible?
Without looking into it further, I can't give you an honest answer. I know when I arrived and I talked with Tom Trask, and one of the first things he showed me was section 3 on the diagram, and it shows a bar and 4 stools. I mean, it's labeled bar and 4 stools. So I don't know if that was his concern.
Can you guys explain that?
We don't have bar stools. There are no bar stools.
It's just
That's just a picture for the state they need a picture.
yeah, I think the reality of the diagram and the actual nature of their business may maybe contradict. Here's a question for you guys, and Mr. City Attorney, help me if because I don't know the posting requirements. Is getting this done tonight an absolute necessity, or do we have 30 days to make this make sense at a staff level, and you guys come back in January and we get this cleaned up for you all?
If that works, we can do that.
I mean, if it's not a rush job, I'd like to be able to spend a little time with the city attorney and discuss it with Michelle further, and maybe even make a visit to see what you guys are all about. But I know the city attorney's first concern was, well, at any time they can take this and turn it into a bar. Well, considering their restrictions, that's one tiny bar you've got there. And so I think the reality of this might be a little bit different than, you know, the conspiracy theory or the scare of what could occur. And again, knowing the owner of the facility, we know that that's not what's going to happen there. So,
Gentlemen, does that work? I mean, is that because I want to just make sure everybody's protected on both sides? Is that?
We just want to do it right.
I get it, and I think the city manager, I mean, I see it being a gift shop, and like I said, I know the wine
problem with
tasting.
putting on the record that we're not going to be like the Hut or the.
Absolutely, and I do know your
We're not
landlord, so.
we're just trying to protect ourselves.
Yeah, so I mean, if it doesn't harm you in doing your business and starting business, I want to make sure we don't, you know, also harm anything.
Mr. Mayor, with that being said, and I appreciate your support on this, if we could ask the acting city attorney to go back to Tom Trask, and just so everybody is aware that they have an illness within the firm, and Tom is playing triple and quadruple duty, and so it's hard, to his defense, it's hard to keep all of us cities straight. But this one really just seems kind of like a no-brainer, and so I'd just like to have 30 days, especially if we can cover ourselves with the contractors, some sort of addendum or amendment that says, hey, we're not going to turn this into a wine bar. I think that's the only city concern. So with that, Mr. Mayor, probably the appropriate, unless Mr. City Attorney, if we are actually in the public hearing, the motion would be to table it, or just refer it, actually. Don't table it, because then you have to make a motion to take it off the table. Just refer it to the January meeting, which would be January 10th.
And I just have one more question. Ms. Orton, are you good with this?
Definitely.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, would we have to re-advertise this item?
I don't know what.
If we do a date certain, I don't believe we do. And so as long as you announce the date, which is January 10th.
That's the reason for the referral instead of the tabling, because the tabling requires a motion to take it off the table. So if referred, Madam City Clerk, am I correct about the next meeting date? Okay, let me just, I can look it up real quick.
Can I ask a question? I'm a little confused still. On this, for the 2 APS license, if you get the 2 COP license, do you have to give up the other? Or can you still have them?
They already have the one.
Right, but to get,
Pay the upgrade with the state.
so it's just an upgrade. So you would still be able to do like the testing, you know, the taste.
It's not going to affect our business at this time, no.
Okay, that's what I was a little confused about. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I have one other question. The bar, is that not allowed in this particular zoning? So let's say if it became a bar, is that not allowed?
No, it is.
It is, but there's, you know, parking restrictions, there's a ton of restrictions, and of course, Guy, you know, that's if that's the lease that he wrote, he could let that come through. And he wouldn't, you know, I don't know, you may not go, Guy.
Yes, I do actually.
But he owns the building.
Yes, I've been in that very store, it's beautiful.
Exactly, I've been in that store too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. And I will never allow the bar to be on the property at all, because I don't want no drunk people in the middle of the night or any time.
Guy, can I ask you to speak into the microphone? They can't hear you at home.
Anytime when he closes the store. See, the reason he needs it, because if he opens a beer or somebody want to try a little bit beer or some, right now he cannot have it. He cannot use it or open the bottle of wine and give a glass to somebody. They cannot do it. but I will never allow a bar guarantee 100%.
Mr. Mayor, the other thing that we could probably do between now and next January is, do you have a paper hard copy lease with these gentlemen?
They got the lease.
If it's written into the lease that you would not allow for that, that would also, you know, behoove the city to say, okay, we're okay. So if you don't have that in your lease, maybe you want to issue a quick addendum to your lease. We'll look on our end what we can do, and I think this is not going to be a problem. I think we're making a mountain out of a molehill on this one, but we just want to make sure that we do it correctly.
They're good tenants, so I don't want to lose it.
Yeah,
No, and that's, Guy, and not just because we know you, but I mean, I just want to make sure we're not hurting anybody's business. They seem like they're outstanding, and I just want to make sure that both sides we're all covered. So I think if he gets a copy of the lease, we can roll this kind of forward and be good for January.
Let's take a look at your lease, and if you don't have that in there, let's issue an addendum, and then we'll take a look at having a side agreement with ourselves, and then in 30 days, you guys have what you need.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
No problem.
So is there a motion?
The correct motion, Mr. Mayor, would be to refer until the date-specific January 10th meeting.
At this time, I'll entertain that motion.
Mr. Mayor, I so move that we refer this to the January 10th meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further comments from staff?
No, just an apology to the applicant and an apology to the commission. It's just been it's been a whirlwind, and Tom and I just don't get enough time together along with Michelle, and so it was just a short miscommunication. But again, when you referenced a 400 square foot facility, you're not going to put a disco in there, that's for certain. So I think we're going to be all right there, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Madam City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Vice Mayor Gabahi?
Yes.
Commissioner Lister?
Yes.
Commissioner Hodges?
Yes.
Mayor Palladino?
Yes. Gentlemen, thank you very much, and we'll see you January 10th.
And Mr. Mayor, just so that we're all on the same page, there may be a very good reason that the city attorney made that recommendation, but I don't know that, but it certainly seems.
Without him here, I'd rather know his. All right, next.
And just from what the discussion, we did not obviously have all the information, so it just seems like the right thing was done.
Okay. Next resolution, 2016-31. Mr. City Attorney, please read by title only.
This is Resolution 2016-31, a resolution of the City of Madera Beach, Florida, recognizing the importance of intergovernmental cooperation and resolving to join and participate in the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2016-31.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any comments from staff?
Recommendations for approval, Mr. Mayor.
Is there any further comments from the audience? Any further comments from the commission? Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hodges?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Gabahi?
Yes.
Mayor Palladino?
Yes.
Commissioner Lister?
Absolutely.
Mr. Mayor, I probably should have said something that we need to appoint somebody to that board. I don't know if that would be a part of that motion that we just made. We need to basically appoint somebody to make a monthly.
At this time, I'm passing the gavel. And I nominate the Vice Mayor to be the representative of the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Commission.
I'll second that.
That's for a roll call. That's for, we got to do a vote. You got a motion and a second on the floor.
Go ahead and make a roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Gabahi?
Yes.
Oh, wait. I would ask for your abstention from that vote, please.
You can't vote for yourself.
Yeah.
So your vote is I abstain.
Thank you.
Mayor Palladino?
Yes.
Commissioner Lister?
Yes.
Commissioner Hodges?
Yes.
And Mr. Vice Mayor, I think you'll do an outstanding job, and anything that we can do to help and support, I can, if you need any support from the Mayor's Council, if you need support from the Big C, or any other thing I'm on, you got it.
Thank you very much. It's a wonderful board.
It
really,
is, and I've been to a few meetings. It actually is, and so thank you very much for bringing it forward.
Yes, thank you.
Next, ordinance 2016-17. Mr. City Attorney, please read by title only.
This is a first reading of Ordinance 2016-17, an ordinance of the City of Madera Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 34, Environment, Article 3, Noise, Section 34-89, Exceptions, to clarify the definition of exceptions to the term loud and raucous noise by providing for repeal of ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith to the extent of such conflict, by providing for severability and providing for an effective date.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to pass ordinance 2016-17.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any comments from staff?
Yeah, this is a clarification ordinance for code requested by Deputy Krager. I see the deputies had to leave probably for an issue. He's definitely behind it, and staff recommendations for approval, Mr. Mayor.
All right, and then my only question is, I know there's been problems in the past with noise ordinances and things like that and trying to get things done. Is this kind of clarified? From reading it, it seems like it makes it a little bit more bulletproof or?
It defines the term loud and raucous, which I think my grandmother used to call me when I was 5 years old, but raucous is not a term that's used very often anymore, but it was in our code, so now that's defined.
So it's ruckus?
Ruckus.
Sounds so 40-ish.
Stop being so ruckus.
All righty. Thank you. Is there any further comments?
We just wanted to hear you say that.
Ruckus?
So I'm a ruckus.
I believe he was ruckus. Have the city clerk please call the
Mr.
roll.
Mayor,
Yes.
I do have a question.
Yes.
As far as decibel points, I mean, is there anything we can relate to something more?
We do, that's currently in the code. And we actually have decibel, our deputies are trained, manned with decibel readers as well. Mr. Gacatelli knows that better than anybody in the audience. So we've got that on the north end, John's Pass, Brown Boxer, even our friends across the waterway there at the Legion.
Thank you.
Madam City Clerk?
Commissioner Lister?
Yes.
Mayor Palladino?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Gabahi?
Yes.
Commissioner Hodges?
Yes.
Next ordinance 2016-18. Mr. City Attorney, please read by title only.
A first reading of ordinance 2016-18, an ordinance of the City of Madera Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 42, Offenses and Miscellaneous Provisions, Article 2, Special Events, Section 42-16, Definition, to clarify the definition of special events by providing for repeal of ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith to the extent of such conflict, by providing for severability and providing for an effective date.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion this commission pass ordinance 2016-18.
Second.
On first reading.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any comments from staff?
Another clarification ordinance just for special events. It basically changes the quantity from 50 to 25 for organizational purposes. Staff recommendations for approval.
So it doesn't cause.
I'm just wait. It was from 75 to 50.
It should have been 50 to 25. Yep.
That's 50.
It's currently 50. We wanted it down to 25. Do you have old code? Yeah, I'm pretty positive. Doug, you're in the audience. It's always been 50 since I've been here. We wanted it down to 25, correct? Yeah, I think, I don't know, what does everybody's packet say? 'Cause
Mine says 50.
250? Then we've got a typo. What staff is looking for, and again, this is just one of those instances where I think we've got cluttered information, but the current code is 50. We want it down to 25, so if there is a typo.
Mr. City Attorney, so would we just amend the motion from, or the, the ordinance? Can we do that on the floor?
I think we can, and just
Okay.
reflect the number is, the intended number is 25.
So, Mr. Mayor, I'll amend my motion for ordinance 2016-18 to reflect the number being 25 as opposed to 50.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any further comments from the audience? Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Gabahi?
Yes.
Mayor Palladino?
Yes.
Commissioner Lister?
Yes.
Commissioner Hodges?
Yes.
Next ordinance 2016-19. Mr. City Attorney, please read by title only.
This is the first reading of ordinance 2016-19, an ordinance of the City of Madera Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 2, Administration, Article 8, Special Magistrate, Section 2-503, conduct a hearing, to clarify the requirements of conducting a hearing by providing for repeal of ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith to the extent of such conflict, by providing for severability and by providing for an effective date.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to pass ordinance 2016-19.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any comments from staff?
Again, another clarification ordinance for the special magistrate hearings, staff recommendations for approval.
Is there any further comment? Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor Palladino?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Gavahi?
Yes.
Commissioner Hodges?
Yes.
Commissioner Lister?
Yes.
All right, next reports and correspondence. Do we have any reports or correspondence, Commissioners? I'd like to go ahead. I've got two things. Number one, I want to go back to the boat parade, and I know I mentioned something at the earlier meeting, but I wanted to do it here during the regular meeting. Dave Marcicano, once again, I want to thank you and your staff. This is actually the 6th year I've gotten to be in the boat parade and have a boat decorated, and there's a lot that goes into it, from the captain's meeting to keeping everybody queued up, keeping everybody tight going in and out of canals, keeping everybody from running aground. And Dave, you do an outstanding job. And I think this year, of the 20-plus years I've lived in Madeira Beach, the best boat parade I've ever seen. So thank you very much.
Thanks, we did have a good year and couldn't do it without Megan and that staff. They do all the hard work, so really appreciate it.
Mr. Mayor, I'd also like to add that David puts in a lot, long hours. I've seen him out there very, very late. So to dovetail to what you're just stating, he puts in good hours and long hours. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. And also, I want to bring up, as the Vice President of the Barrier Island Council, we each have different duties. I've been put in charge of putting together for the next round of beautification dollars from Pennies from Pinellas. I put together, with a little help of the city manager, put together a packet. I've got the approval from the Big C to move forward on it. We will be asking for $45 million. The portions of Madeira Beaches will be, I believe, $5.5 million, somewhere right in there. Had a little sit down with the county commissioner, and things look good, but we're going to add a few things for true transparency on it. What'll come from the municipalities, say like Madeira Beach, we've used our portions for undergrounding, and I believe we're looking at using the rest of it. So we'll show what we've used for undergrounding, and then show what the cost to finish undergrounding, Gulf Boulevard will be for Madeira Beach. So each municipality will do the same thing, just to show true transparency where these dollars are going. So what I'm trying to work at on something that took 10 years to do the first time, I'm shooting to hopefully get done in 1.5 to 2 years. So God willing, the creek don't rise, but I think we can move forward. So when the penny comes available in 19, we can start using those funds, hopefully, to move forward and underground our power lines. Vince, once again, I want to thank you with your help on working with the numbers too. So thank you.
Mr. Mayor, we're going to need a little bit more money.
Yeah, I know that, brother. If I can get 5.5, brother, I 5.5 here and 3 here and 4 here. I work,
Well, specifically,
I got such a big raise this year, so, as Mr. Merrill said, so.
Specifically, I really like to connect the Archibald Park with a nice, like a wider sidewalk, more like a trail from Archibald Park to like War Veterans Memorial Park. And I think by producing that, and we have talked to DOT, we're sort of working with DOT and the county on that. So if we can get some money, possibly get some grants from DOT, and we can really provide an environment for our citizens to walk. Also, I've seen like cancer, breast cancer people walkathons, and they walk on that sort of a sidewalk that I consider to be in areas dilapidated and not wide enough. So what I'd like to do is maybe give some attention to the areas where we would want to encourage our citizens to walk. It's very healthy, and walking is a good thing anyways. And for downtown, it's mostly recognized by all the big planners, and I think our citizens will enjoy that. So if we can somehow come up with some money to extend that sidewalk, I would really, truly appreciate that.
And Mr. Vice Mayor, I know you've been working hard on that, and I know there's some county dollars out there for sidewalks. So, I'll definitely do my part, and I believe that I know that the senator's office has been working on some other things, getting some dollars together. So I don't know. I think we've pretty much got our appropriations that we're working on, Mr. Crawford, this year for appropriations from the state. So I think we'll have to find a couple of different avenues for this, but I believe they're there. And if there's anything, I think somehow we can bring it up in a meeting, how we can work together to get these funds to do those projects, because they're outstanding projects, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Yes, thank you.
Any Further comments from the commission?
Yes, I'd like to also state that this is our last meeting for this year, I think, right? For this year, our public hearing. And Christmas is coming up, so I'd like to wish all our residents a very Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays. And looking forward to a wonderful year. We've had a great year in the past, and as you know, I was just newly appointed to this board, and I really enjoyed serving on this board. I enjoyed, public, giving back to public and being a public servant, and enjoyed working with every one of you. So thank you very much for your confidence in me, and we're really doing a good job for Madeira Beach. Hopefully, most of the citizens agree with us.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor, and I like your tie. Very holiday.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. City Attorney.
Nothing further.
Okay. Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be brief, but I do have a couple of things. One is I'd like to ask the acting city attorney to go back to Tom Trask about that first issue, because I didn't want it to seem like Tom and I were butting heads. I just think that there wasn't enough information on that one issue, and I didn't want it to see it get squashed. So if you would please, I don't know if I said it right during that point of it, but I certainly don't mean any sarcasm or ill will towards Tom. Tom's great, and we work well together, so it's not a conflict there at all. Mr. Merrill and his comments tonight, I just want you to understand, and I was actually asked by someone to write that letter. It wasn't an attack on him, it was an attack on his horrible statistics and his inaccuracies. I mean, even tonight, Chris Reese brought it up. He doesn't know if the city manager in Seminole is a man or a woman, and that's kind of what was redundant through his article that he wrote about you guys. And frankly, I don't want to sound fatherly, but when they attack the commissioners for having, a 300% raise, 300% on top of barely nothing is still barely nothing, and that's what he was trying to pin you guys with. And so, if anybody felt that was inappropriate, I do apologize. Again, I was asked to write that article, and I got a lot of positive comments about it. In fact, that was the first negative, which is to be expected. The one thing that he and a certain group keep bringing up is my vacation, and if we need to rethink that, that's fine. But everybody remembers when we did this vacation, everybody understands that there's no way in hell, and I apologize for saying that I could use 7 weeks of vacation. Those vacation days were given to me as a bonus. That's what it is, knowing that I couldn't use it and I could cash it in at the end of the year. We had talked about bonuses. We can't do them, so you have to do it in another way, and that's what it is. I don't take 7 weeks of vacation off. I can't take 2 days off. You guys know that. We work nights, we work weekends, we do it all. So if you guys, if we need to rediscuss that, that's fine. But I mean, I'll be cashing in, 80 to 100 some hours, probably more by the end of the year. And I'm going to struggle to take some of this time off so we don't have to cash it in. And I'll donate it. Hell, if I have to donate it to employees, I will. That was never the case, to take almost 2 months off of work. And so I'm kind of taking that a bit personally. But people, when you don't come to commission meetings for 6 years, you don't know what we're doing and why we're doing it. And so that's certainly the case. I did not attack him for being part of the problem of why we had to take out some debt, but he was on the commission when we had the highest millage rate in the history of Madeira Beach, and you guys didn't do anything. So that's what I wrote in the article, and if that was in bad taste, I certainly apologize. So I'll leave that alone for now. We're back into report and update mode, so you guys, you'll be getting that every other Friday. I explained the situation with the vice mayor, who I keep calling my rookie commissioner. Some of you had come to me and said, I really miss those because that kind of keeps me up to date. And up until recently, I didn't feel comfortable with that, but I'm back to the point where I don't mind doing that. And then finally, piggybacking off what the vice mayor said, you guys always do something real nice for the employees for Christmas. And again, I said, our employees are treated fantastically. I told you when you recruited me 5 years ago, I want a lean staff, but I want them well compensated and I want them well skilled. Well, we got all of the above, and we've got a bunch of people that work their tails off. But we have departments that can't shut down. So for instance, hey, why don't you take the day after the New Year's Day and shut down the city? I can't do that. Dave's guys have to work sanitation and public works and make sure the Christmas ornaments are on, and Doug has to, handle the kids at the rec department, so on and so forth. So I thought what might be a good deal, and I checked with Vince and I checked with payroll, and this is a very simple thing to do, is my recommendation to the board, and you don't have to do anything, by the way, is to give employees their birthday off. And if their birthday falls on a weekend, or if their birthday falls on a Thursday and they want Friday off, that I administratively can give them a cushion of 5 or 6 days. If they want to have a long weekend and just go celebrate their birthday with their family and take a trip, that they should be able to do that. That way we're not closing anything down. You're just adding one day that they can just get out of here and breathe. And to be honest with you, I mean, Dave's a perfect example. That guy, I have to send him home for the rest of the month just so he doesn't lose any vacation. And I've always said people won't lose vacation on my book. I'll make sure administratively I can handle it. But I mean, you know, Dave had, you know, 3, 4, 5 medical leaves without getting into any specifics. So he's the guy sitting behind the cash register at the marina on a Sunday afternoon, you know, and that's the kind of guy he is. I've got department heads like that all over. Vince worked all weekend. Doug worked all weekend. I would certainly recommend that, I think this is a small token for Christmas, that you give them their birthday off, and that's just my personal recommendation, but you guys can certainly have a conversation. However, you need to do it right now.
Yeah, and I like the idea, you know, and Mr. City Manager, and I know we discussed it, and I think there's a lot of positive behind it that from the employees and from staff.
You know,
there's a lot of support for it from. So, Commission, I open it up to you, and what's your pleasure?
But before you go on, I just want to tell you a quick story. It's 20 seconds, and I won't throw anybody under the bus or the municipality, but we had a neighboring municipality come visit us at the fire department. And it was after we had done a little Thanksgiving Day dinner, and they were talking about our guys, you know, the employees were discussing it back and forth, and our employees were telling them all the wonderful things that we do. You know, we have some picnics, we played kickball, the mayor pulled his hamstring playing kickball. I always have to bring that up, Mayor. You know, we
That's just because you're ruckus.
we do things for Christmas. You know, we're very employee sensitive, especially when it comes to scheduling, and you guys let me handle that. You know, we have a gentleman that works late nights because he's, you know, got a large family and has family obligations. We have that all over the place, and so not every city operates like this. And I don't want to say that I run a loose ship, but I run a flexible ship, and I think that sometimes people just can't get out because we're so lean, and that's my fault. But the reason why they're compensated the way they are is also my fault. So I think that this is just a small token. Again, Commissioner Lister was just about to say, I like the idea. It's simple for us to do. We're not shutting the entire city down. It's just one person out of the office on a birthday. Krabby and I will be out of the office together on our birthday. You know, it might happen 2 or 3 times, but I think it's a neat idea. And if we can try it, and if it doesn't work, you pick out something next year.
Commission?
Typically, a vacation time per staff is 2 weeks? Well, generally.
Sure. It depends on your tenure here, but you do cap out. In fact, that is something I'd like to address with you, because there is one level of employee here at Madeira Beach that they own, I think they top out at 2 weeks. And you could be here for 10 years and only have 2 weeks of vacation, which probably isn't correct. So we probably have to revisit that, and that's something that we have to look at sometime middle of next year when we get some of this big stuff out of the way. But there are people that range from, I think, Dave, not to throw yourself out on the streets here, but Dave's probably one of the longest tenured employees. Amy, you're another one. You get 4 or 5 weeks. Five weeks is probably the highest.
That's after 25 years.
After 25 years.
You get
so you got to put in your time. And again, Mr. Mills, right, the governor does make $130,000, but he does have $83 million in his campaign fund, and I'm sure his pension is pretty healthy as well. So, you know, you got to have an apples-to-apples comparison when it comes to these statistics. But apart from that, and I'm sorry I even brought that up, the employees deserve this, and you can't give them a bonus. You can barely give them a pat on the back if they work for government, so a day off for their birthday is kind of a cool idea.
Well, this time I'll entertain a motion for that.
I'll make the motion. I think we should do it.
Is that a chocolate second, or Commissioner Lister, is that a chocolate second? Yeah, okay.
Mr. Mayor, just so it's confirmed and it's in the minutes, Madam Clerk, that with payroll events, that I would administratively have the flexibility to give them the day off 7 days within their birthday.
Right, because I know somebody would want Monday or a Friday.
I might want a Monday, I might want a long weekend, I might want Wednesday off, who knows?
That's fine.
So we're not asking for additional days off, we're just basically moving the birthdays around? I mean, vacation times around?
No, it's got nothing to do with vacation. My birthday's August 25th. On August 25th, I get a day
So
off.
there's an additional day off.
You're giving everybody 1 day off a week, but you're just not doing everybody at the same time.
So I second that, sorry.
That's okay. I like the chocolate version
Yeah, it was good.
of your second.
I offered chocolate there.
You get it?
Okay. I did.
Yes, I understand.
Okay.
Not you.
Well, typically, I would say, somebody's been in a typical business for, like, say, 2 to 3 years, you get like 2 weeks off. And after like 5 to 10 years, I guess 3, and then.
Totally separate issue. That's something that we need to address.
I understand that,
But you're right.
I could support that. I mean,
Absolutely.
But I mean, as much as I would love to, I mean, these guys work very, very hard, and they really, really deserve it. I've seen Dave out there like 10, 11 at night. I know he works in and puts in a lot of time, and the staff too, and I'm seeing them every Friday, and they're just wonderful people. But I would support the motion to, add, kind of change or add more weeks to the times. That's another item for another issue.
Issue for another day, but
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes, but as much as I would like to, I think as far as, just a typical norm for a business, I cannot support that. I'm sorry.
All right. Is there any further comment? Madam City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Palladino?
Yes.
Commissioner Hodges?
Yes.
Commissioner Lister?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Gavahi?
No.
Okay. All right. I guess we're to the end of the meeting. Is there any further business, Madam City Clerk? I forgot all about you, sorry.
I very rarely have anything. I just wanted to remind everybody of the important dates. Tomorrow, qualifying opens for the vacant, for 3 positions that are up, the mayor, District 3 and District 4, and it ends January the 13th. And also on the 29th, just a reminder that Shane's evaluations are due, as well as any applications for the vacant seat for District 3. Thank you.
And those applications for the vacancy can be found on the web or just in your office?
They are on the web, I believe. If not, they will be by tomorrow morning.
Okay. So if you have any questions or anybody asking for it, please refer them to the website, and if they can't get it off the website, have them contact my office or Amy's office, and we'll get them the paperwork that they need.
And the only other thing, Mr. City Manager, I don't see anything on the evaluation sheet for scoring on you being ruckus. All right. Well, happy holidays from the City of Madeira Beach. God bless everyone. And seeing no further business, this meeting is adjourned at 7:18 p.m.